I don't.
Points, you had suggested.
Listen, I don't care what he says.
But Sir, real fast, you said you were considering military force to acquire Panama and Greenland. Are you also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No, economic force, because Canada and the United States, that would really be something.
Before we begin, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because we cover the biggest political moments and breaking news as they happen. Breaking. President Donald Trump doubles down on his controversial Canada comments after being asked if he would use military force to make Canada the 51st state. When a reporter pressed President Trump on whether he would consider using military force to annex Canada, Trump gave a direct answer, but he didn't back away from his broader argument. Instead, he claimed the United States spends too much supporting Canada and questioned whether the current economic relationship still makes sense. Let's break down everything he said.
But maybe he will. I don't.
Points, you had suggested.
Listen, I don't care what he says.
But Sir, real fast, you said you were considering military force to acquire Panama and Greenland. Are you also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No, economic force, because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like, and it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget, we basically protect Canada. But here's the problem with Canada. So many friends up there. I love the Canadian people. They're great. But we're spending hundreds of billions a year to protect it. We're spending hundreds of billions a year to take care of Canada. We lose in trade deficits. We're losing massive. We don't need their cars. You know, they make 20% of our cars. We don't need that. I'd rather make them in Detroit. We don't need the cars. We don't need their lumber. We have massive fields of lumber. We don't need their lumber. We have to unrestrict them because stupid people put, restrictions on, but I can do that with an executive order. We don't need anything they have. We don't need their dairy products. We have more than they have. We don't need anything. So why are we losing $200 billion a year and more to protect Canada? And I said that to, as I called him, Governor Trudeau. I said, listen, what would happen if we didn't subsidize you, if we didn't, because we give them a lot of money. We help them. As an example, we're buying icebreakers, and Canada wants to join us in the buying of icebreakers. I said, we don't really want to have a partner in the buying of icebreakers. We don't need a partner. But no right. Nope, no right. Here's what we have. We have a right not to help them with their financial difficulties because we owe $36 trillion too. We're going to start knocking it out pretty fast, but we're going to be able to do it because of energy and other things. But no right. No right. But why are we supporting a country, $200 billion plus a year? Our military is at their disposal. All of these other things, they should be a state. That's why I told Trudeau when he came down, I said, what would happen if we didn't do it? He said Canada would dissolve. Canada wouldn't be able to function if we didn't take their 20% of our car market. They send us hundreds of thousands of cars. They make a lot of money with that. They send us a lot of other things that we don't need. We don't need their cars. We don't need the other products. We don't need their milk. We got a lot of milk. We got a lot of everything. And we don't need any of it. So I said to him, well, why are we doing it? He said, I don't really know. He was unable to answer the question. But I can answer it. We're doing it because of habit. And we're doing it because we like our neighbors. And we've been good neighbors. But we can't do it forever. And it's a tremendous amount of money. And why should we have a $200 billion deficit and add on to that many, many other things that we give them in terms of subsidy? And I said, that's okay to have if you're a state. But if you're another country, we don't want to have it. We're not going to have it with European Union either. European Union, we have a trade deficit of $350 billion. They don't take our cars. They don't take our farm product. They don't take anything. And so we're not going to have it with them either.
During a wide-ranging exchange with reporters, President Donald Trump was asked about one of his most controversial ideas involving America's northern neighbor. The reporter referenced Trump's previous remarks suggesting that Canada could become the 51st state and noted that Canada's Conservative Party leader had publicly rejected the idea. Trump responded by saying that political leadership in Canada could change, but he did not directly predict what would happen politically. The reporter then asked an even more direct question. Since Trump had previously discussed the possibility of using military force in other geopolitical contexts, would he also consider military action to acquire Canada? Trump answered with a clear no. He said he was not considering military force regarding Canada, and instead described what he called economic force. Trump argued that the border between the United States and Canada is an artificial line and suggested that a closer political relationship would improve national security. At the same time, he emphasized that he likes the Canadian people and described them as great neighbors. From there, Trump shifted his focus to economics. He argued that the United States spends enormous amounts of money supporting Canada through defense commitments and what he characterized as trade imbalances. Trump claimed the United States does not need many of Canada's exports, including automobiles, lumber, and dairy products. He said he would rather see more automobile manufacturing take place in Detroit than import vehicles from Canada. He also argued that the United States has abundant natural resources of its own and could produce more lumber and dairy domestically. Throughout his remarks, Trump repeatedly questioned why the United States should continue maintaining what he described as an unfair economic relationship. Trump also discussed a previous conversation with former Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. According to Trump, he asked Trudeau what would happen if the United States stopped providing various forms of economic support. Trump claimed Trudeau responded that Canada would struggle economically without the current relationship. That account reflects Trump's description of the conversation and has not been independently verified in this exchange. Trump further pointed to cooperation on icebreaker purchases and argued that the United States should not necessarily partner with Canada on projects it believes it can fund independently. He connected these arguments to his broader message about reducing government spending and addressing the national debt. The president also expanded his criticism beyond Canada. He argued that the United States runs large trade deficits with the European Union and said he believes those trade relationships should also be renegotiated.